this review is late. It was suggested by Pow3rh0use back in 2014 after he gave it to me as a gift. There was also another game he mentioned to review, but I can't really recall what it was. Oh well, thanks for the gift, and after 3 years I can finally pay you back with a review. After I reviewed Dungeon Siege 2, I received many requests asking me to review the original. Surprisingly, many people believe that the original is the superior game, even though the second one is more feature rich. Could Dungeon Siege 1 really be the shining star in the series? Or is nostalgia getting in the way again? You start off creating your character with a set of faces and hairstyles to choose from. As the game begins, you are a farmer tending to your crops when suddenly danger strikes. Your good friend, Norik, drops an exposition bomb and tells you to go to Stonebridge. The game does a good job on introducing you to the mechanics of the game and allowing you to pick from all 4 combat styles in a unique way. They are melee, range, nature magic, and combat magic. There isn't any restriction from using multiple classes, so you can be an archer who channels their energy with nature magic or a brawler who likes to see his enemies burn. Honestly though, there really isn't much of a reason to mix up the multiple combat styles, as there isn't any real benefit to it. You'll find it much easier just to specialize in one and will be much better off that way instead of being a weak jack of all trades. The combat styles are fairly balanced, but I found the ranged weapons to provide an unfair advantage as they never miss and you never need to stockpile on arrows. You can just shoot for days and keep your distance away from enemies fairly easily. What Dungeon Siege 2 did is introduce a skill tree and the ability to specialize in a certain style of combat. For example, you could be a dual wielding swordsman or a two-handed brute. Here you can be a melee fighter and that's it. All fighters feel the same as well as all archers and spellcasters. The original feels incomplete nowadays without it, as it is difficult to roleplay with everyone feeling the same. Combat itself is as basic as it comes. You click on who you want to attack and that's it. The game was noted for its use of automation, as all you need to do is equip your character well and send him or her off to battle. If they are done with the enemy, they will move on to the next. It isn't the most engaging combat, which again was also improved in the sequel, but it is effective and it keeps the pace up. What keeps you going is the awesome loot you find. It is completely randomized as well, so you can run across some badass weapons with some useful buffs, such as an increase in health, armor, increasing your combat level, and increasing your total damage output. As you continue to fight, you'll level up in whatever fighting style you are using and will get access to better spells, weapons, and equipment. You also increase in strength, dexterity, and intelligence, which again is required to wear certain equipment. This is fine in theory, but towards the end of the game, everyone is wearing the same damn clothes if they use the same damn combat style. While the game is very linear and doesn't feature many optional paths, you can find some secrets along the way. This usually leads to a pretty tough enemy to best and an awesome reward to obtain. I'm glad these were included, but having a more open area to explore would have done the game wonders. For the first hour or so, you'll be fighting off enemies solo, but you'll eventually come across your first companion. She's a chick with a very lackluster voice actor and just wants to get the hell out of here. That's really all I can say about her, as the game doesn't explore her story or any of her motivations. Honestly, that's one of my biggest gripes with the game. All your characters that you meet and join your party don't have any development to them. They have that initial moment where you see their personality, and that's it. I don't know who the hell any of these people are by the end of the game. That's a legit problem. Just look at games like Divinity Original Sin, Knights of the Old Republic, or even Mass Effect, where you develop relationships with your squad mates and learn who they are. Heck, even the sequel was full of party interaction. Dungeon Siege offers simple but effective controls on your party. While the party AI is dumb and unaware, you can adjust their behavior to be more or less aggressive when enemies are around, choose who to target first, and what formation you'll use to travel. As I said before, it is simplistic, but it does its job and it works well enough. You then come across the first town your good friend Norik was talking about, and you can finally get rid of your sweet loot for even better gear. There are also some companions to recruit, which will need you to pay up some of that cash money, boy. Oh, one more thing. Don't forget to buy a burro. You'll need a pack mule to lug around all the crap you'll find and you want to sell off. They don't cost very much and can make a profit by carrying a crap ton of stuff. I find it funny that they included them in the game, especially as they take charge and lead your group. Oh, wait. Before you go, make sure you get everything, because if you leave, you'll have to travel back all over again. Yep, there is no such thing as fast travel. Since there are no checkpoints to reach, you'll need to haul ass all the way back to town if you want to make a profit on your acquired goods. This makes backtracking very tedious and is easily the biggest flaw the game has. And that's pretty much it. There isn't much else in the game besides combat and finding good loot. It very quickly becomes formulaic. You go to place, people say you need to go to another place, you go to other place, fight some monsters, collect some loot, complete objective, go to town and sell stuff, buy stuff, get another objective, and life moves on. There isn't much deviation from the formula, and honestly, not much to keep you engaged in the long run. The story to me was honestly an afterthought. It is prominent and the kingdom of Ebb as well as the world of Arana is spoken about, but I found the story to be a typical evil has arisen and you must stop it cliche. There's nothing particularly bad or terrible about it, but it couldn't hold my interest for more than a few minutes. It also doesn't help that the voice acting is pretty bad, minus the narrator. To be fair though, the graphics are nice when exploring out in the wilderness, unaware of what will come and attack you. It looks beautiful to see the fairies and pixies flying around in their natural habitat. However, the dungeons and pits look very unappealing. Instead of coming off as dark and menacing, they look like bland and boring Saturday morning cartoon locations. Overall, I still prefer Dungeon Siege 2 over the first one. Sure, the original was considered a unique title at release, but it hasn't aged the best. The lack of the ability to fast travel, coupled with the lack of party interaction and lack of specialization, makes the experience feel bare bones. Dungeon Siege 2 took almost all the flaws of the original, fixed them up, and added much more in terms of feature and content. Plus, the sequel has much more character compared to the original. To be fair, both games do have a degree of repetitiveness after playing for some time, but I would rather play Dungeon Siege 2. And that isn't my nostalgia talking, as I played the original way before I got my hands on the sequel. I call it as I see him, and the best I can give this is a slight recommendation. Only if you really want to explore where Dungeon Siege started, or if you're just curious, then go right ahead. There is some fun to be had, but don't expect to be blown away in this day and age. Now I have 2 trilogies that need to be completed. So little time, so many games. Thank you guys for watching as always, and this is Pow3rh0use signing off.